My name's David Anderson. When I was 15, I was a 9/11 conspiracy theorist, and I learned a lot of stuff in that time that made me not want to be a 9/11 conspiracy theorist. And then also, but after I left, I was absolutely obsessed with conspiracy theories, have been kind of like still obsessed with them my whole life, and have been amazed to see that the people who ran those conspiracy theory communities are now running the media to a degree, a certain degree or more. It's been really fascinating. I feel like I've had a privileged position to see all this happen and be terrified by it. So anyway, here's my thing. I'm going to talk about 9/11 conspiracy theories. So let's go. Clock.
You have to hit the space bar.
All right, so what I'm about to do is I'm going to tell you 3 absolutely real facts. This is not a joke or anything. These are going to blow your mind. Ready? Number 1. Have you guys ever heard the phrase that jet fuel can't melt steel beams? Raise your hand if you've heard that. It comes from the fact that on 9/11, September 11, 2001, airliner crashed into both World Trade Center towers and caused fires. The towers ended up collapsing as a result of this. Well, a popular rallying cry amongst 9/11 conspiracy theorists is that jet fuel can't burn hot enough to melt steel beams. This is a true fact. If that is a true fact, how did the towers fall? Let's keep that in the back of your mind. True fact number 2. Check out the Pentagon here. The Pentagon has a very big hole, but if you notice, the plane that hit the Pentagon is way wider than this hole. So why is the hole so small compared to the size of the plane? That is a strange...
Just the tip. Was it tilted, maybe?
We are going to come back. I'm actually going to answer. I'm going to address these later. Right now, though, I'm just going to blow your mind a little bit. I'm going to give you the experience of entering into this world.
Okay. Awesome.
True fact number 3. Did you know that there was this other third building in the World Trade Center Plaza that collapsed?
Aww.
Interesting detail. It was never hit by a plane, and here we've got video of it literally just falling down. How does Osama bin Laden factor into this? He didn't hit with a plane. Sounds like the government probably did this themselves to get money from it because of reasons. So, the reason I bring these up... Sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I probably should put a bumper slide in there. So, when you start to encounter things like this, your brain can start to go and be like, that is weird, that is strange, I don't know what to make of this. And our immediate reaction is to go to some kind of conclusion that will very cleanly explain and just kind of summarize why we don't understand something. In the case of jet fuel can't melt steel beams, that is a true fact. Jet fuel cannot melt steel beams. But if you think about it, melt literally means turn to liquid. You do not have to be able to drink the building in order for it to fall down. Jet fuel burns hot enough that it will affect the steel and weaken it to a point where it can collapse. And then once the building starts to go, I mean, the building's not meant to withstand, the top third of it being off balance and falling down. It's just not built to hold up that way, and the rest of it's going to fall down. So that's a very misleading fact if you don't understand what to look for. Number 2, the plane hitting the Pentagon. The hole is only in the center. What happens to the wings? Now, this is alarming because if you've ever seen Looney Tunes, you know that whenever something runs into a wall, it makes a perfect cutout of its shape, no matter what material it's made of.
Looney Tunes science.
Now, in reality, a plane is built for flying, not for puncturing a hole into the side of the largest military base in the world, which is meant to resist bombs. That hole in the center is made based on the fact that the center of the plane is where all of the most solid material is, like things like landing gear or whatever, stuff like that. It doesn't matter what it is, just take my word for it. There's a lot of really solid material in there. We don't have the time to go over everything.
Like luggage.
Fuselage.
Yeah, whatever. The point is that if we go back to that image, I don't know how to, so we're not going to. If we go back to that image, there's clearly blast damage on the side from the wings. But planes are made of aluminum. Number 3, that building fell down. It was not hit by a plane. How do you explain that? Sounds pretty suspicious to me. That is true. It was not hit by a plane. However, that building fell down after the towers collapsed and took down just, I mean, if you've ever seen Ground Zero, it demolished a giant area all around, just the blast radius of like where the buildings collapsed. That building appeared from that one perspective to be perfectly fine. It just looked like it just fell. If you were to turn around or take the firefighters on the scene, their word for it, there's a giant hole in the back. It was burning. It was just destroyed by rubble falling on it. And it was only a matter of time before it collapsed. Not to mention the fact that a bunch of other buildings were demolished. They didn't fall down like that in such a suspicious way. Anyway, tell me if these recruitment techniques sound familiar to you today, because a lot of these things, if you follow, so for example, Alex Jones, you guys hear that name before?
Oh, God.
Alex Jones began in the 90s with Coast to Coast. It was a conspiracy radio show you could listen to in the middle of the night about UFO sightings, things like that. Not Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Alex Jones's Coast to Coast, where he was talking about alien sightings and things. Alex Jones really picked up Alex Jones, InfoWars, if you've heard of these things. During this time with the 9/11 conspiracy theory stuff, I wasn't like into Alex Jones, like I liked him. I was into him like I was like so in his world of like what crazy madness he had to offer us, because I was fascinated by it. I didn't believe it. Like very quickly I realized this is insanity, but I immersed myself in it because I was fascinated by the world that he was building for people. So there are three very important stories or narratives that are built in a conspiracy theory community. Number one, why didn't they tell you about this? Did you know about that building that fell down? Raise your hand if you have ever heard of that before. Nobody. Okay, some of you. Okay. The point is that the idea is to ensnare you with this, look at this. Why didn't they tell you? As if there was like a group chat or something that the government, like all of us were in on, and the government just decided not to bring it up. The fact that there is information out there that you don't know is converted from a personal failing or something like that into a strength. The fact that you don't know something now becomes evidence that there is a conspiracy. Why didn't you know that? Your ignorance is evidence of something. So be careful of that, of people trying to turn your ignorance of something into evidence for their story they're trying to push. Because that's a very appealing feeling, right? All of a sudden, it's not that you don't know something. Now all of a sudden, you're actually in the know of something. Number two, do your own research. This is a very popular idea. I mean, and this totally ties in with a lot of the presentations we were talking about earlier. The idea that anybody, no matter who you are an unbiased person. Excuse me, I'm drinking too much.
False.
That you're unbiased. These other people, scientists, engineers, whoever, anybody who gets paid to know something is inherently untrustworthy because, I mean, like they have so much to gain by going along with the system or whatever. You know who doesn't have anything to gain? You, by just going out and Googling something or whatever. And that just, the flaw in that thinking is that you, with no knowledge, are inherently a nobler or somehow more qualified than people who are professionals or experts or something like that. A third important thing that was established at this time,
Oh, for fuck's sake.
is the idea of actually creating, solidifying networks of fake news. This is where, I mean, going back to Alex Jones, this is where like he really cemented himself as a voice for people. The idea that you can't trust these other people, so let's us create a grassroots movement of people who have absolutely no investment, except that we're just after the truth. And we're going to step up and fill the shoes of those people, which conveniently means you pay us instead to be your news network. And we're also going to sell male enhancement vitamins and things, and whatever else that they do. I really hate Alex Jones is absurd. And also where they get their information from is going to be people who are not experts. That means you're going to go to bizarre websites like, I made these up, but I don't remember the actual names. That's the only reason I made these up. Zionwatch.net or NazisForPeace.info. It's weird that conspiracy theorists and white supremacists and men's rights activists, all these people. There's a lot of overlap.
Huh. Weird.
There's a lot of angry people who have no actual causes that all have kind of solidified into one sort of community. The reason why this is at all important is because Alex Jones today, and people like him, you've got like Breitbart News, a lot of these strange sort of neo-Nazi talking heads people have become prominent in like the last election or in the White House itself. There are a lot of Nazi or Nazi-adjacent type of people working for Trump. Well, a lot of them have been fired just because Donald Trump's entire administration is falling apart daily. But, oh,
We're drinking on time.
am I right? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so it has been a fascinating thing to watch this kind of movement not only form but flourish and gain actual political clout. The moment that I heard that I keep harping on Alex Jones just because this guy he's crazy. The fact that this guy was being touted as a legitimate alternative media to other, like I have my problems with things like CNN and whatever and MSN and stuff. But like Alex Jones is not at all an actual alternative to news outlets like that. And so like if you see people like some guy from high school that you forget his name, but you kind of recognize his face and your Facebook friends, like starting to post things like this or whatever, like, I don't even know this kind of goes to the thing with the homeopathy that you were talking about, where it's like, what do you say to a person like this? I have spent so much of my life arguing with people on the internet about facts and things like this.
Poor thing.
That,
Big mood.
I'm just going to wrap it up and I'll open it to Q&A maybe because I don't want to waste your guys' time. Okay, I had a final slide, but whatever. It just said, any questions? Like I was challenging you.